It is a gray, rainy, kind of cool, pretty cool, in the 40s day today. And it is a perfect day for a delicious dinner of a rich, hearty barbacoa. If you aren't familiar with barbacoa, you might be familiar with it through chipotle. And that's kind of where I got the inspiration for making this for my family. Chipotle, they make a barbacoa. It's basically like a shredded beef that you can put in your tacos, your burrito bowls, your burritos, anything like. It's my husband's favorite from Chipotle, and I decided to give it a try myself. So I went online, found a recipe. This is the first time I'm making this, so I tweaked a recipe that I found to my likes, and I'm gonna give it a try and enjoy it tonight with my family. So if you're interested in learning how to make my barbacoa, stay tuned. For this recipe, here are some of the things that we need. We need an onion. Now this onion is not looking good, so I'm hopeful to be able to salvage at least half of it. For the recipe, you can see that there's some spots that don't look great, so we'll see how that goes. That's one of the reasons I'm using it. We need a lime. I am using the juice from this orange, which looks hideous, I know, but my older son had a baking class where he needed orange zest, so I'm using the orange juice from that. We need cloves and oregano, cumin, chopped garlic, salt and pepper. And I have this chicken stock that I made that I had frozen in the freezer. It's defrosting. It's almost totally defrosted. There's a big hunk of ice on top, but it's going to cook down with the beef. We need a couple of bay leaves. We need a splash of vinegar, and of course we need some chipotle peppers. So this is 1 can of chipotle peppers. It's about 7 ounces. I'm only going to use 4 chipotles, chop them up really fine and put them in with the juices, and whatever's left I'm going to put them in a little Ziploc bag in the freezer. We like things warm but not too spicy, so that's why I'm only using 4 of these. These are going to give this an amazing smoky flavor that you just can't get without them. If you like it spicier, definitely feel free to use more. And we need the meat. So I have already cubed up about 4 pounds of chuck roast. You want it to be a little bit on the tough side because you're going to be cooking down this meat until it totally shreds. So having a tougher cut of meat, which is usually a little bit more affordable, is the best way to go for this. You want like a stew meat. So look for a stew meat at your butcher. I've got the juice of my lime, the juice of the orange, my onions, and my chipotle peppers in here. Now I'm going to add my garlic. I'm going to do a nice healthy amount of garlic. I'm going to add some salt. I'm not going to salt it too much because I feel like the chipotle peppers are salty, the broth is salty, the vinegar will bring it, act as sort of a salt substitute. So I'm going to do maybe about a teaspoon, and then I'll test it later and see if it needs more. I'm going to do about 2 teaspoons of pepper. That just brings great flavor to the dish. Gonna pop in a bay leaf. Gonna use a teaspoon of oregano. I would say just a sprinkle of cloves. Cloves are pretty pungent, so just a sort of a nice generous sprinkle. Less than a teaspoon for sure. I'd say maybe a half a teaspoon or a quarter teaspoon even. And we're going to do probably a teaspoon of cumin. Okay. Now I'm going to use a spoon to kind of stir it all together. Mix it up as carefully as I can. Everything will sort of meld together as it's cooking, but if I can get all the flavors kind of mixed around right now, all the better. All right, that'll do. And then the last thing I'm going to add, and that's just because it's a big clump, is my chicken stock. So it's partially melted, partially a cube of ice, and that's how real it is around here. I'm not even going to bother with melting it down. As it cooks, it's going to melt, obviously, and that's that. So I am going to put this in my crock pot on low for 8 hours. Okay, there we go. It's in and about to cook on low for 8 hours. Okay, we're back. So I'm gonna take the lid off, and at this point, this is when we're gonna add just a splash of vinegar. I'm actually just gonna pour some in the cap, and this just gives it a fabulous little tang that you can't beat. And I'm gonna take 2 forks, I'll mix that up just a little bit, and I'm gonna start to shred up the beef, and you'll see that the beef shreds so easily. Now you could certainly try and take out the meat and shred it on a plate or on a cutting board and then add it back in, but I don't want to create more dishes, and for me it's just as easy to do it inside the crock pot. I still have the crock pot on. I actually turned the temperature up to high while I'm doing this. There is so much delicious juice in here. The meat is falling apart. It's so easy to shred at this point. And as it shreds and becomes more broken up, it will absorb even more of this liquid. There is a lot of liquid, and so we're just going to let that soak in it basically because it's such great flavor. But when I plate it up, I'm going to use a slotted spoon so that the liquid sort of drains a little bit, but we're not going to waste that liquid. It will be great drizzled on top of our burritos or tacos or rice bowls, however you're making your barbacoa. All right, so this meat is nicely shredded at this point, and I'm just going to let it sit on low and continue to sort of absorb these delicious flavors until it's time for dinner. All right. All right, I have a whole wheat tortilla because those are the kinds I like. The barbacoa, and I'm just going to put the barbacoa right on the whole wheat tortilla. Messy business, but what tacos aren't messy? Got a little bit of shredded lettuce that I'm going to put on top, a little bit of shredded cheese, a little sour cream, and some hot sauce. And there you have it. A most delicious barbacoa taco, or a little burrito, however, whatever you want to call it. Ready to be eaten. Absolutely delicious and so yummy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you liked the video. Hit subscribe and tap the notification bell for notifications on future videos. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you next time.